Welcome back to episode 23 of the Recap Room podcast.
Oh,
Yeah, you were so good. You did it
that
for
was
me.
way better than any of us.
You did the intro for me. I was actually going to say it, and you just took the words right out of my mouth.
I've heard it a few times now.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
Well, I think this man doesn't even need an introduction, or
No.
maybe he does because
He's like
nobody's-
Oz, bro. He's literally Oz.
He
You know,
is-
like Wizard of Oz.
Like Wizard of Oz, like you just kind of is like an ethereal being,
Yeah.
always behind the camera.
I think more like Jamie.
Jamie.
Jamie,
Oh,
yeah, literally.
Yeah, Pat
Hey,
is our
Jamie.
Jamie. If you've ever seen the Joe Rogan podcast, Pat is our Jamie. Pat is the man behind the camera.
He's the man that presses the button.
He's the man that presses the button, keeps us all in check.
Mhm.
He's does everything behind the scenes to make this whole, because a production like this doesn't just happen.
No.
Right? Like let's just be honest. Let's just call a spade a spade. There's a lot that goes into it, and I've always wanted to get you on camera with us.
You've always said that.
I've always said I
Sure.
thought it would be so fun to get you on camera because you're always behind the camera, and it'd be interesting for people to see the man behind it. Obviously, I've known you for many years now. You're one of my best friends. We've lived together,
Oh, really?
had a lot of good
Aw.
life experiences together, and I want everybody to hear about who you are, what you do, and talk about Zoomy. Just talk about yourself. This is
Yeah,
the
go
time
off.
to talk about go off, Queen. This is a time to go
Whoa.
off, Queen.
Go off.
King.
Freestyle.
Yeah, sorry,
Freestyle.
Queen.
I like Queen.
Queen.
He prefers Queen. So take us back. So take us back even from the beginning. So you weren't born here.
No, I was not.
Where were you born?
Poland.
You were born in Poland.
Yeah.
And if you know me, I love my Polish people.
You do love your Polish people.
Really?
I love my Polish people.
Wait, you like Polish? I didn't know that. I had no
I
idea.
love my Polish people.
I was definitely got a type.
All right. This isn't the cap show.
It's
Could
always
be.
the cap show. It's been the cap show.
So you were born in Poland.
Mhm.
And when did you move to America?
I was 5, so I was very young.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 years old, moved right to Chicago.
Yes.
And
The
you-
suburbs of Chicago.
And you're one of 3, right? You have
Yeah,
a
I have
sister.
2 younger siblings.
Yeah. So fast forward now, we've kind of skipping through all the childhood things that have gone through. I'm sure there was a lot in your childhood that you've had that you could spend a lot.
Yeah, learning English. That's one of them.
That's a big one. I've never had.
Still learning.
Gordy's still learning.
I'm
You
still
guys can
learning
bond over
English.
that.
Yeah.
You probably know better English than me. If we had a spelling bee, like recap spelling bee, I
You
would
would
lose.
I would win. I was good in English.
I was a horrible
I'm a
speller.
pretty good speller.
So, okay. So fast forward to now, I guess more present day. What is Zoom Media? Who is Pat Rydzewski? What do you do on a daily basis? Just
Dude,
tell
you
us
know
about-
your Polish way too well. That was like really
Pat
good.
Rydzewski.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was pretty good.
it
That was really good.
That's not bad.
Pat Rydzewski?
Yeah.
Well, that's like the. I feel
That's
like
the American one. That's
that's
how
the
I.
Amer-
That's how I
what's
introduce
like the
myself.
Polish way of saying your last name?
Rydzewski.
Rydzewski. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
say
Rydzewski's easier to say.
Yeah, that's and I always think of it because Zoo Media. It's like Zoo Rydzewski, so it always just and that means
Yeah.
your branding's working.
Like,
Mm.
there you go.
So
I guess
tell
it
us
is.
tell us about that. Tell us about Zoo Media. Tell us about what you do. Kind of how that came about. Obviously, we met in college. Were you planning on throughout college going into this as your career field?
Mhm.
All types of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I could just take you back a little earlier to how it all started. So I got into photography when I was in 7th grade. My parents got like a DSLR camera for the family to take photos of.
Yeah.
It was meant for them to take photos, and I ended up just kind of utilizing it nonstop.
Yeah.
And taking photos of what? Like, what did you like taking photos of?
Everything. I was thinking, there's photos of grass.
Everything.
Like just
Tell you, in 7th grade, I don't know what I was thinking. I wasn't of gra- No, I'm kidding.
caught
I wasn't.
me.
But
No,
okay.
like family stuff. Just anything. Pretty much anywhere we went, I'd bring my camera with, just look for different things to take photos of. I was learning. I was in 7th grade. I didn't
Right.
really.
Yeah.
I think I was editing stuff on my phone maybe at the time. And then that progressed. And then in high school, I got into film. I've always been into film. Like even I tell this story occasionally. It's like I look back at I had this old yearbook from like 1st grade,
Yeah.
and there's like a about me page because they make you fill out stuff about
Yeah.
like what you want to be when you grow up and all that. And at the time on mine it said movie maker because I didn't even know like what the right terminology
Movie
for anything
maker.
was.
And what? How old were you at this point?
It wasn't elementary. It was probably either between 1st and 3rd grade. It was very young.
Yeah. Like,
That's a term Gordy would use today. So
Yeah.
I mean, I still think I'm gonna make it in the league.
I'm a movie maker. Yeah, Gordy's still.
You meet me in the A gap. I swear, meet me in the A gap.
Yeah, so I always wanted to do something with that. And then throughout high school, I bought a used camera because the original photography one didn't film video at the time. So I bought a used camera off like my family friend, and I just started filming videos of my friends. Just like we'd go out to like the dunes or the beach, or we'd go out downtown and like sneak up onto buildings and stuff and take photos and videos up there.
That's cool.
That is.
So when I started posting stuff on YouTube, didn't really take off anywhere. It was just kind of more for passion project, kept doing that. And I wanted to do it in college, but I couldn't see myself going to film school necessarily. I just didn't fully get the appeal. I think it's, at this point, I didn't want to work on movies anymore. It was more so just I liked having a camera.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I wanted to do with it.
Right.
So I didn't see the appeal in film school because I've always heard that it's very much just strictly for filming movies and learning the basics of videography to like the more advanced stuff, obviously. But I think I had a pretty good grasp at that point. So
you don't strike me as a film school guy.
No.
I never saw
like,
myself as that.
Again, that may come off. Take it however you want.
No, I think there's great applications for it. I just didn't feel like it was a good fit for me. I've also been in like a family that's very entrepreneurial. My dad has a business. My uncles have businesses. So I always knew I wanted to have some sort of business of my own. So I figured, okay,
I feel like I'm the same.
I'll go in business undecided, because I didn't know exactly which direction to go. So I went into that, started doing all the gen ads at DePaul.
That makes sense. I think what I was rubbing my face.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say something.
I thought you were going to well, let me tell you something real quick about the
Let me teach you a thing or two. Business.
I opened my mouth. I was going to talk, and Pat's like, "Gonna speak?" No, I was just rubbing my face. But I will say that I think that was really smart that you did that, because I think that when it comes to film, videography, like creativity, like obviously, like I said before, I've known you for a while now. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on who you are as a person. You're a very creative person at your core. Yeah. And so whether or not you went and did film and photography and videography in school, I don't think it would have made it. I think it's better that you got the business knowledge and kind of pivoted it in a way like that way when you got into college, because now it's allowed you to kind of merge the two, right? Where you have your passion and that creativity and creative side of you that's never going to go away, because that's just ingrained in your DNA, and then add in the business side of it, and you have a Zoo Media baby. Yeah.
Well, part of it was also at the time I didn't have any knowledge on the industry, and I didn't really think there was a way for me to, like, I don't know how I can make a living with my camera that wasn't in work, moving to LA or being a producer of some kinds, which is, that's already hard enough to do. So I thought this business would be a good stepping point. And then in college, I ended up switching to finance, which was completely polar opposite.
That's out of the blue.
Yeah, because everyone always is preaching finance is the best. That's the best route to go in business. You can get any job with it pretty much. I'm like, okay, let's try that out. And that was going well. But then on the side, remember the Discover DePaul class we had to take?
Of course.
Oh,
so for people who aren't DePaul people, there's a class at your first class at DePaul that you have to take. It's a Discover Chicago class. And I'm going to let Gordy talk about his, because his is fun. Like, he got the worst Discover Chicago class.
The worst one, by far. You guys, what'd you have?
So mine was, and if you know, mine was Chicago politics.
Oh, that's fitting.
So I'm like, come on.
That fits you.
Right up my alley.
Yeah. What'd you have?
I had photographing Chicago.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. Yeah. Well, I had garbage. Literally garbage.
No, that
it wasn't. Put you on the back of the truck, and you're
it was like discovering the garbage throughout Chicago, and we would go to like different sites and look at
just look at our
just a poor excuse.
Just look at our mayor.
We went literally
just look at our mayor.
We literally went to where do we go? Like the border of Indiana to look at a literal landfill for a whole day, and we had to take pictures of it, smell it. I had to write a paper on it.
On the smell.
Dude, I had to write a paper. I almost failed the course because I didn't know what to write.
It's like a sommelier class. You got to describe the smell.
Describe the smell.
It's an old banana.
Yeah. You're like, God, that is about 3 weeks expired.
Dude, it was like, they tried to like name it like recycling and blah, blah, blah. Name it all fancy.
Like, no,
it was trash and shit. It just smelled like shit. I'm sorry it did. But
Gordy's still upset about it. But
I can see that.
The worst one.
Yeah,
by far.
But anybody who went to DePaul will already know about the Discover Chicago class. I did have a good time with it. But back to what you were saying. So your Discover Chicago class, right up your alley.
Yeah.
Like exactly like right.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very much, it was not meant for anyone that was actually into photography, I don't think. Because it was like bare bones, walking around the city, taking photos of buildings and just learning how to use a camera, a lot of it. But I met a lot of cool people, including my good friend, shout out Joey, who was also in the same industry as in the same industry that I was trying to get into, which was, film and video, or film and photography. And that kind of reignited that passion again, because it definitely died down the first year of college when I, transitioning to moving to the city, meeting new people.
Yeah.
It's like just a lot to take in, and you definitely lose track of a lot of things.
You want to enjoy your college experience. Like, you want to, like you said, meet people, and you don't always want to be constantly focusing on necessarily the nuts and bolts of what college, like so much of college is the experience.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So that definitely reignited that passion. We started just going into the city like multiple times a week, taking the train and just taking photos and videos of random things and whatever ideas we had. Met some other people along the way doing that. And that is kind of when I started to slowly get a grasp that there is actually a way to make money in this that isn't just moving to Hollywood and, working for some production studio. Because as you start, the one thing I've realized is that in Chicago especially, I'm sure it's a lot similar in other major cities, but once you start walking around the city shooting, you start to see a lot of people doing the same thing here.
Yeah.
I always see the people like taking the photo like down like State Street or something of like the train, the buildings and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people making a living doing a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I always would say to people, I'm like, it's always interesting when people tell you, they're like, oh, you have to do this because that's where the money is. It's like, okay, how is it? That doesn't make any sense, because I could list off 50 other people that are making money doing something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have to find where your passion meets your ability to make money.
Yeah.
And it seems like you've done that and been able to capitalize on it and create a successful brand and business and continue seeing it grow and turn into what it is now and what it will continue to evolve in has been super cool for me, because I feel like I've been there, maybe not since day one, maybe not since
early on though.
But yeah, I mean, we lived together in college and you weren't even like Zoom media and all that stuff wasn't a thing at that point. Right?
No, that didn't start till after I graduated. But back to that, I met a lot of people just out in the city. And then I think I don't remember exactly how it started, but I think I met someone and they were looking to do a video or photo shoot for something, and then I think I made probably $200 on that thing, which was probably I did way more work than it actually was worth it for.
Sure.
But that gave me the grasp, okay, if I can make $200, I'm still in college doing this random shoot that took me a few hours. There is a way to actually make money doing that.
For sure.
Yep.
I kept doing that for that same person, then he introduced me to another person, and then it just kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
And that's when I found out about what I was doing was just freelance work.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know what that was at the time.
You were a prostitute.
I was a prostitute.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were a photo prostitute.
You were a prostitute.
You're a photographer prostitute.
It's essentially what it was.
Yeah. So I
that's
kept
good.
doing that during college. And then after college, I decided to just start my own brand. And that's when Zoom Media came to play.
Yeah. So
It's
tell us
amazing.
about what Zoom Media is. What's your, I guess, target clients that you're trying to work for? I know for us, like what you do for us is probably not as much as what you're, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. It's not necessarily what you're, like when I go on your
Identity
page, I see a
is-
lot more like product stuff and product branding and things like that. So what kind of is the vision that you see for Zoom Media into 2025 and beyond that?
Yeah. So the reason I even started Zoom Media to begin with was because I was doing a lot of freelance work. Towards the last year of college, I was traveling to different states probably 2 to 3 times a month, doing shoots all over the country and a lot of cool stuff. But I realized it was extremely demanding and exhausting. And I was doing freelance work for a lot of other media agencies who were already well established, and they helped me get started dramatically. But I realized I just didn't see how I could possibly scale what I was doing to the point where I can't see myself being in my 50s and traveling nonstop.
Right.
It's
and
just
being a freelance.
Yeah.
Just being
Exactly.
stuck around.
It's a grind.
Yeah, it's a grind. There's a lot of money in freelance, but it just I couldn't see the long-term vision for it. And I figured, okay, I'd rather just start doing less freelance work now. 'Cause I don't, what expenses do I have? I don't need to make $1 million right now. Or
You
anything
just
like that.
graduated college. You have no
Exactly.
expenses.
So I started Zoom Media to try to build a brand for myself so that I eventually could start getting people to do shoots for me and for my brand, and that won't require me to actually be at everything.
Yep.
Edit everything and just do all the different
Being able
parts
to
of-
delegate out tasks.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's scalable.
Delegate to elevate.
Delegate to elevate.
You
That doesn't rhyme, but that's okay.
You're so good. Give me a high five for that. Awesome. We're getting that tattooed on you next.
Yeah, the next one.
Delegate to elevate.
Delegate to elevate.
Delegate to
But-
elevate. That's great.
That makes total sense, and I feel the same way with
Mhm.
what I had, like with what I was doing. Like when I didn't have Recap Group, it was like the equivalent of your freelance work.
Yeah.
Whereas once Recap Group became a thing, it turned from a job into a business.
Yep.
And so the more you can do that, the more it turns into a business and doesn't function necessarily as much with your purview. You can kind of, I don't want to say take a step back because you're always involved, but the way you're involved is different.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
interestingly enough, the way you're involved is more beneficial because you're able to do more impactful things instead of doing like low-hanging fruit that anybody could do,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So I totally get the sentiment. So what is like your target client for Zoo Media? Like who do you market to? Who's the end consumer?
Yeah. So the thing, when I first started, I didn't really know exactly what direction to go in
Yeah.
because I was still in that freelance mindset. I just, I'm like, oh, let's get a logo, get a website. And I'm like, wait, but now what? Like nothing really for the longest time, the first year, it was probably like partially an ego thing, but I still very much felt like I'm not doing what I want to do because it felt like I was still doing freelance. Like it didn't feel like a business. It very much felt like just all over the place, no clear direction. So the time I was doing shoots for, anything and anyone, anybody, like pretty much just anyone, including you guys. And now
But you love doing it.
I love doing it for you. My favorite clients.
Well, that's the best thing I've ever
Exactly.
We'll talk about that soon.
Yeah, but now it's very much transitioned to, it's a media agency specializing in short form video for e-commerce brands. So like products, basically. Product marketing. That's the thing that I've always enjoyed doing, especially I had like a few shoots doing that during college, and it was like the ones that I had the most fun on. So okay, this is a profitable business because everyone needs marketing, especially products.
People need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've transitioned the business to be mainly focused on.
Yeah, because when I see on your page, I see a lot of different products, and you've gotten like, it's so cool to see how much better you've gotten at it too.
Yeah, some of them are ridiculous. Like like you make these products look like the best of all time.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like why? And granted, we're not in the product business; we're a service business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I think you doing this work for us is maybe more of like a fun thing for you. As
it is a fun thing
because we've known each other for so long, and you've also at the same time that I've seen you grow your thing from the start. You've also like inversely been involved at the start since when I got involved in real estate.
Yeah, we were living together when we both kind of started off.
When we both kind of started, so you're bonding over that. But when it comes to product marketing, like what are the things that you think are most important that brands and companies should focus on when they're looking to market a product? I guess that's a super open-ended question.
It's an open-ended question. It varies product to product. Every client is going to have slightly different audiences, different needs, different whatever their goals are. Like if their goal is to go viral, I'm gonna have a different, not like can't guarantee someone to go viral, but I'll have a different strategy than if it's someone to increase sales.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely differs, but a lot of it is just being consistent is one of them, having consistent content, because it's not a thing that you could just release one video and expect it to blow your business, to new heights, but it is something that you need to stay consistent on, which is what you guys are obviously doing.
Trying,
yeah.
We do stay pretty consistent though.
I'd say so.
This last year, we've been a lot more consistent than I had ever been with any.
But that was because a lot of your help of creating a schedule. Like we would have never created like a schedule like you have.
And keeping it organized.
The podcasts, podcast reels, regular reels, like having all that organization, knowing what have we uploaded, what do we need to upload, what do we need to film.
There's no way I would be able to do this without and I'm not saying that just because you're here. Like I tell people that when I'm out and about, I'm like all the social media stuff I wouldn't be doing. It would take way too much time, and the quality of it wouldn't be something that I'd want to put out. It's just, again, another delegation thing for me. It's like, I am not going to undertake this task because it's not worth my time to do it. And you're obviously the expert at it. But that's kind of the whole reason why we've been able to stay consistent with it, because I've been able to hand off things to you for you to do it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes out, I think, pretty good. I think people like them.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think people do.
No, I definitely get that. So like I'm now trying to start doing my own content for my
I just saw
page,
you. Yeah.
And like it's a lot harder doing content for yourself than it is for a client.
I always tell people, I'm like, because do you remember our first shoot? So our first shoot, Gordy will appreciate this, was at you. I don't even know if you've been to this office because we closed it probably before you joined. But
We went to a lot of offices.
We went to a lot.
All of them shut down now.
Oh, yeah, they all they've literally all like moved, consolidated, shut down. We had an office in Winnetka. Remember the one in Winnetka that we would shoot at?
Mm-hmm.
We just went to all different places to shoot, and like, dude, when I tell you how nervous I would and like how many takes it would take, I was so bad at it.
Yeah.
The first few.
Well, you're by yourself too, which is even
I was
harder.
by myself. It was Pat, and it was Pat's kind of first. I wouldn't say your first time shooting for, but like that type of stuff, you weren't.
I wasn't doing any sort of social media like talking
Right.
head. That was very much a learning experience for both
We
of
were
us.
both learning together.
And that was also pretty early on when that stuff started to kind of get popular. Because now everyone's doing that now.
Yeah.
Talking.
But even that's when like we first joined Sasha and I, and we did our first shoot. Was that at that was at Winnetka office, I think. Yeah.
Did we do it?
Yeah. Do you remember that when we were very monotone?
Oh, no,
like-
that was at
no,
Barrington.
Barrington.
Oh, was that Barrington?
That was
Yeah, that was at
Barrington.
Barrington.
Oh my
which
God,
that
that was
office
like-
also does not exist.
Yeah, that one
We
doesn't
moved to
exist
Hoffman
either.
Estates.
No,
it's
yeah.
crazy.
That was like the first one where I was very nervous and I was just like the most monotone I've ever been on a camera.
What do you when you see people in like? Have you seen like on camera? Like, what is like? Do you usually see people like the first time they're just like terrified to be on camera, or like there's some people who are just naturally they get up there? Because I feel like now,
But there's some people who are very good at talking off camera and they're great conversing.
Yeah.
And then the second that camera goes on, it's like they've like
That
high
was-
freeze too.
that was me for a while. Like I felt like I was really good at talking just naturally, and then the second the camera was on, I
Yeah.
was like, it was like just it couldn't even talk. Now you could throw a camera on me, and I'm
You're
fine.
natural now.
Throw a camera on me, just don't bring it into my house.
A trained natural.
Just don't bring it into my house, and we'll be fine.
Yeah. We used to be so inefficient with that stuff too.
Oh my
We'd
gosh.
spend like 8-9 hours filming.
oh my God.
Yeah, we would.
And we'd get to get a good amount of stuff done,
know.
but a lot of the time was us
And
just
a lot of it was
like,
repetitive.
messing around.
I think, and you like, I want to hear your opinion on this. Like, I think the key when it comes, this isn't more as much product side of things, but like
that's okay.
when it comes to people, like being on camera, I think the number one way, like I can tell if somebody's good, like going to be good on camera, or not good at camera, but like the video is going to do well, is if the way they are on camera matches the way they are in real life,
100%.
and they're really well liked in real life, especially. Because that's like the secret recipe. Like if people like you and you're like the man or the girl or the woman, I should say, if you get on camera and can just emulate that again,
Yeah.
people are going to listen to what you have to say because you've already proven that they do. Like the proof of concept's already there. You just have to
Yeah.
be like, no camera. I don't even know what's there. I don't even know what's there. I don't even know what's there.
Yeah, I've
even
adjusted
notice it.
more to that. I mean, I'm
takes
still getting
time.
there. It takes time.
It does
for
take
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Let me backtrack to your last question because I kind of skipped over it.
Yeah.
My mind is all over the place all the time. But about people being on camera for the first time, it's very much a hit or miss. I have had people that were like phenomenal. Like I get them on camera and they one take spitball 30 minutes, no stutter, and it's like, wow,
crazy.
like you
Crisp.
have done this before. And they're like, no, I haven't. I'm like, well, you're very good at
Really
it.
good.
You should. And then some people, like you were saying, how they seem amazing off camera.
Yeah.
They were like super. This one girl I was filming with one time, she was super talkative, super bubbly, like very excited. And the second the camera turned on, this was a 20-second segment we needed to film. 15 minutes, she couldn't get a word out.
Oh.
And which is fine. I don't mind
Yeah.
that because I'm
it's
used
not-
to it.
Yeah.
But it's just how it happens. It's
And-
a hit
yeah.
or miss.
And I think the thing is like there's really not much you can do in that situation, right? Like what can like
Well, for the talking videos, there's not a ton I could do because that's like them looking straight at the camera. When it comes to something like doing an actual interview with someone where it's like, cameras on the side, they're facing me, we're just talking. That's a lot easier to open someone up with because I start turning it to more of a conversation.
Yeah.
right.
And after a few minutes, they forget the camera's even on.
Yeah,
And they just start talking.
and the good that's like this stuff. I feel like the podcast stuff is easier for me to do. Less
100%.
prep work doesn't. Do you feel the same way, Gordy?
100%.
There's no scripting with this.
It's
Yeah.
just a conversation. You're
Yeah.
just conversing with people.
Yeah.
There's just the way we.
It's just when you do like the short form videos on your reels or something, you're like, I gotta set up, I gotta say this. I
Yeah,
gotta
there's a
talk
million
like
things
this.
you got to think about with
Yeah.
the script and all that.
What do you think now about how repetitive some of this social media stuff has gotten, though? Because
It is getting
again,
very
when
repetitive.
we first started shooting 3 years ago on my first videos, I was horrible at it, but there wasn't as many people doing it as there
No.
are. Like I wouldn't say I was a pioneer.
But
'Cause
we
I'm
did
not.
we did start doing it.
We
early.
were early. Like there was no
Pioneer adjacent.
We were
Pioneer adjacent.
We were. I was a pioneer adjacent. Is what I'm saying. And I remember like people in the office. They still in the office don't really like. A lot of people don't really understand it and don't really do this stuff. But
Yeah.
back then it was very foreign. But now so many people do it. Like, what do you think is required to stand out today? Like when it comes to social media and creating content.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just staying relevant. Like things are obviously always changing, and doing things such as the skits that we do, those obviously they're fun for us to do, and I think they tend to perform pretty well because they're a little different than the regular stuff we're doing.
Yep.
I mean, other than that, it's just trying to change things up. You know, even doing something as simple as changing the fonts or using a different song or sound, trending audios, things just that. That's pretty much the extent of it. Just kind of improving your quality.
Yeah.
And the actual topics you talk about. Because I think the first stuff we were doing, a lot of it was very bare bones, basic information that were just kind of like informational. And now it's like what you got to do is bring in your personality. That's what I've always told you to do is just you're a funny guy. And that's what you need. That's
a boom.
3 big booms.
That's 5 actually.
5 booms.
That's
the chicken bake?
That was good. That was good. The Riz face.
I'm the Rizzler.
You are.
Gordy is the Rizzler.
But that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that was gonna be my next point. I'm sure you agree with this, Gordy. It's like I was talking about this with Justin, our friend, the other day. I'm like, bro, when Gordy's on camera now, when he brings his person, like Gordy's so funny.
No,
it actually
hilarious.
It actually kind of upsets me because I felt like I've always been kind of a funny guy.
You are funny.
You're funnier than me.
I don't even
And
try
so
to
I've
be
had-
funny.
I've
That's
had-
the
Gordy's
problem.
might be funnier than you, but he's a different kind of
It's
funny.
a different kind of funny. But I've had to step away from the throne. I've been dethroned, and I'm okay with it because I've surrounded myself with people who are better than I. That's
the way to do it.
That's a good businessman right there.
That is exactly how you have to do it.
When Gordy, like I notice it more for Gordy. It's hard for me to look at myself on camera and like know if I'm doing good or bad. It's just I don't know. It's sometimes hard. It's hard to read the label when you're inside the jar, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how I'm like looking at myself is just harder to do that. But when I see Gordy and like when he's on camera and it's just kind of him like being like, and this is what 4% and this is the
blah blah blah
yeah,
blah
like,
blah.
and the
No one cares.
and the numbers reflect it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then when it's like Gordy, like on that video that we did where it's even if it is a little bit more nuts and bolts and like kind of informational, but having a little twist.
We throw
to
in
it.
something funny.
Yeah, where it's like what was it that
the
you just
WWE one.
The WWE
It was the
one.
microphone coming down. It was like a funny intro and then switches directly into like
or-
some
or-
informational,
dude, it's
boring
so-
or the one
topic.
or the one that Gordy did with
Sasha?
Yeah,
The most recent one?
with Sasha, where it was like
The rapid fire questions.
The rapid fire
Questions, yeah.
questions. You're like like talking. I don't know, just like
I said
funny.
bathroom, and I'm like, it's me time. I forgot about that video, but
Yeah, but like just things that like make you unique, and I think like people lose so much of that when they get on camera.
Yep.
because
they're trying to separate their personality and become something different on social media. A lot of people do that. They want to become like, you only get to see like 1%
no,
of me
people
on
want to
camera.
see everything.
Well, that's
Like-
the thing I've always heard about, like all the YouTubers and the social media influencers. That's like the biggest issue they've come across in like interviews I've seen is that they've turned into like this other person on camera, this animated person, and that just becomes draining and very hard to stay like consistent and want to keep doing it. Because if you have to throw on an act every time, that's what you were saying earlier. It's just to be your natural self. If you act like you actually do in real life,
right?
people appreciate that.
And people appreciate that. And I will say, like, there's a range. Like I talked about it earlier. Yeah, if you're really talkative and fun, it'd probably bode well. I can't speak right now, but bode better on camera.
You want water?
And like what? Yeah, maybe a little bit, just a little bit.
I have cooties.
2014. Good.
Oh, you got to bring your wine reviews back. I miss those.
But-
Yeah, wine reviews.
Yeah, I used to do those.
We should
back
do like
in-
a
back back
podcast.
in
Well,
the
we
day.
don't drink, but if we ever drink, we should do like a podcast where we just all like drink and just see how it goes.
Dude,
And
that
Oh,
would be.
no,
s-
that's
that-
a
I'm
horrible
coming back on that
idea.
one. I would come
I'd
back.
be back on that
Horrible
beat.
idea. But I would like. I think that there's such a range of people who can succeed when they're on camera. Like you don't have to be necessarily the most talkative person. It's just lean into what you're already. Lean into your strengths. Lean into what you're good at. Lean into what makes you you. Because for most people, that's the one thing that is completely proprietary. Like
Yep.
you can't replicate that. People can replicate saying information about, what's on the whatever. Like for us, I'll relate
like real estate information.
Right. Anybody could make a video saying there's
The best down payment or the best loans for
Correct.
you. Anybody can do that, but your personality,
that's
that's all unique and different.
that's always
It's
unique.
Yeah,
always-
that's what sets you apart.
And do you think that you implement that when it comes to creating product stuff too as well? Like you're trying to create like a product identity as well that's unique. Like do
Yeah.
you think that plays a role into it as well, or is it different when it comes to product stuff?
No, it very much does. It's like there's videos that I would have done slightly differently if it was complete full creative freedom, but that brand has specific guidelines and style they like to follow. So I have to kind of shift that to reflect that. So you don't want someone to be who, let's say someone's a longtime follower of this brand, and then this video pops up. You almost want them to feel like, oh, this feels like not relatable, but this looks what's the word I'm thinking of?
It's targeted towards them or something.
I can't even remember. I can't even think of the word. I'm trying to blank.
No, it's all good.
Familiar. That's what I was
Familiar,
thinking.
okay.
This feels familiar. It
Yep.
feels like it's something that aligns with that brand and how the brand makes that person feel. 'Cause that's a lot of big thing of products and brands is that as much as you want to, just sell the physical product, that kind of marketing doesn't even necessarily work anymore. Like a lot of my stuff is still very bare bones product ads, but it's more so of I do a lot of lifestyle stuff. So it kind of puts that product in different scenarios that you'd use it in, makes it feel like it gets you kind of feeling like a certain type of way. Gets you excited about
Way
using that
funny.
product.
Yeah. Oh, like I could see myself doing that. I've already, done this. Now if I use that product.
Yeah.
Or just in general, like people buy and do things on emotion, right?
100%.
So when
Yep.
you have, and it doesn't, as bad as it sounds, sometimes it doesn't necessarily matter what emotion it is, but
No.
like you strike some sort of emotion with people, whether it's anger, whether it's happiness, sadness, fear, whatever, it prompts people to do something and they remember it.
Yeah.
Right? It's a quote that's probably been passed down from generation to generation, but people don't always remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like things like I've always heard like smells or sound, music,
yeah.
and
People
like brings back old memories
and the
things
more,
just that more
and,
than
and I
just
think the more
words.
senses and emotion you can draw out of people with what you're doing, when it comes to a product thing, you have a product, say you're trying to portray a luxury brand.
Mhm.
You see the brand and it's very dark and mystic and it's kind of like, oh, mysterious. What's going on here? I don't know. Maybe if I open this link, I don't know where it's going to lead me. Am I going to go on the dark web or the Ritz-Carlton website? I don't know where it's going. But also, like for us, what's our kind of brand image? Like we're trying to be, I don't want to say just fun, but more like we're I guess fun-loving, energetic, young, hungry people.
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't necessarily tap into that super like luxury kind of thing because it's just not it wouldn't resonate with our client base and
Yeah.
wouldn't resonate with what the identity of the brand that we're trying to build is. Because again, I don't think that's any of us.
No.
Not me, not Gordy, not Sasha.
No.
So
Sasha's luxury.
Sasha is luxury.
She's more
Sasha
luxury.
is luxury. Sasha's in Florida right now. She's
Yeah,
celebrating.
she would
all
be
the-
sitting right here.
She would be where do you think she'd be sitting there or there?
We'd
There-
probably
oh, yeah,
we
because
do, we do
Aaron
two
was-
and two.
Oh yeah, we would do 2 and 2.
Yeah.
We did
Yeah,
last
there
time.
would be no one
And
here.
she'll sit next to me so that she can point out all my flaws.
That's true.
Just
She
yell at you.
could kick you. She could kick you.
Yeah, because I like sometimes twist and turn in a chair and then she'll kick me during the podcast. I still podcast.
Gordy,
through
shut
it.
up.
I'm a warrior.
You are a warrior.
Warrior.
They
Podcasting through it.
build monument. They're gonna build a Gordy monument,
Like a
from the
Rocky
office.
statue?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's do something fun here.
Mhm.
So you and I lived together for 2 years.
Unfortunately,
Fortunately,
some of the best years of my life. I'm
I
kidding.
agree. We had so much fun. We lived
So
in
much
Wrigley-
fun.
We lived in Wrigley together. What are some of your fondest memories of living in the place? I know it's kind of hard to think about because there's a lot of good memories when we lived there.
I don't know if I can share any of them. Camera.
That's true. I kind of forgot about that. There are a lot.
Fondest memory. That's throwing me curveball here. Honestly, one of the funniest things I can remember is when our roommate Kevin, her ex-roommate Kevin, he had a very fond love for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So 1 year for his birthday, we all pitched in and split for this like it was some like insane $700 lightsaber.
was a really
a
nice-
replica lightsaber
Yeah.
with like a bunch of sounds and different colors.
Yep.
And we gave him this lightsaber. And for the next probably 2 years while we were living there, he was using it every day, running around the apartment
Yep. Yep.
in different outfits.
And fast forward to present day, we still have a group chat. We call ourselves the DePaul Hype House.
It was the DePaul Hype
And
House.
We get
Yep.
a Snapchat literally this weekend of
It's like
Kevin
2 days ago.
playing with the lightsabers still. Like he's a child. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We had some. That is a relatively PG story compared to. Obviously, as you can imagine, we were it was a 4-bedroom with
Four.
college age
All
boys.
college kids.
Yeah.
So it
Like
was
we were just being dumb.
degenerates.
We were just being
pure
degenerates.
degenerates.
Yeah, we were just being degenerates. What was it like when you were, you started, I guess, in business. You were already doing some freelance stuff, but started in official business after you graduated.
Yeah.
What was it like? Because the 2 years we lived together, I was already working. We never lived together while I was technically in college. I
That's
dropped
true.
out.
You did drop
I
out.
was kind of like,
Did you drop out before you moved in?
yeah, I was
Okay.
never doing college in that apartment. So
Yeah.
what was it like, I guess, seeing that? Like, what from your perspective, do you think I was fucking nuts, or were you like, I don't know? I mean, it probably didn't even feel different because everybody was doing stuff. Everybody was waking up and going to class.
Yeah.
I was just waking up and just working.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a little bit like I think I had a little bit of a different perspective on it because I knew it was something that I could see myself doing. So it was
Right.
very much inspiring seeing you actually working, and it at times got me like fuck, I should be doing the same thing. Like there's times where I thought about dropping out,
Right.
but I just like kind of got that idea out of my head because it didn't make sense for me. Like
No.
I wasn't interfering with my work.
Correct.
I was still doing a lot of freelance work, and we were at that time we were like mostly online, so it was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Zoom University was pretty easy to navigate that, but it was very inspiring and really cool to see. Like everyone's saying you're crazy, and I thought you were a little crazy too because
Yeah.
it was very bold and ballsy
yeah.
to do that. But it was really cool. It definitely got me more hyped up about doing that as well.
And for me, it was like I loved being around our crew of people because everybody, even if they weren't in business or aren't in business, like I feel like all of our friends are all pretty motivated people, right? Gordy being one of them, you being one of them.
Absolutely.
We touched on Joey earlier, another one, college dropout that made a
killing it.
Yeah,
He's doing a really good
crushing
job.
it.
Yep.
Somebody that dropped out before me that I look to for advice. Like when you surround yourself with these people that are, I don't know, I don't want to say necessarily just like-minded because we are like-minded, but also our personalities are all so different. Which is
Which I think is a great dynamic.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like me,
But that works well.
like
It does.
You don't want too many people the same.
You all like we're all very, very different people, but all at the core of us is like striving for something better.
Yeah,
and
similar values.
similar values. Yeah, similar values. That's why I love my Polish people. Similar values.
Exactly. We've rubbed off on you and
Yeah.
taught you a few words in
It is
Polish.
crazy though because prior to DePaul, or not even DePaul, I shouldn't even say that. Prior to moving in with you guys, I didn't know any Polish.
You didn't
people.
know Polish friends. You always told us that.
I didn't. All my friends were like little Gordies. They're all little Jewish kids.
Whoa, little.
All right.
Watch your
They were all
watch your
medium.
mouth.
They were all medium-sized Jewish kids, and some not. But I'm just saying, like growing
fun
up-
size.
growing up- yeah.
Fun
growing up
size
in the
Jewish
north-
kids.
Growing up in the north.
Yeah, you grew up in a.
Did you know any? You didn't know any Polish people really growing up. I
No.
mean, maybe you knew them, but they weren't
no.
like.
I knew more Polish people through you guys, and then I met other Polish people after I met you guys, but like not friends with you at all.
Yeah, and then all of a
Just
sudden,
happens.
I moved in with them, and it's like 50% of my friend group, my girlfriend, everybody around me is Polish. Literally everybody around me is Polish.
That's
But I do like it because I do feel like I feel like I'm the closest thing to being Polish without actually being Polish.
Yeah.
I think you can attest to that.
I would say so. You and Kevin.
Yeah,
You so
Kevin
much.
especially.
Kevin even more. He knows a good amount of Polish.
It's
just
yeah.
from growing up with us. It's
Yeah,
funny.
absolutely. So now I know you don't want to give too much away here,
Okay.
but I want you to at least tease on here. I feel like this would be the best place to talk about it. You can give as much or as little away as you want, but little birdie told me that a clothing line may be in your future. I don't know. Maybe the birdie's wrong. Maybe I didn't hear that, but I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Yeah, the birdie was somewhat accurate,
Perfect.
I'd say.
Perfect.
Are we breaking the news?
We are breaking the news.
I haven't talked about it
Breaking
publicly yet.
news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. UFOs in the air.
Yeah, it was actually that's actually part of the clothing drop is all the UFO or the
That's actually my marketing
drone.
campaign. I'm in charge.
his FBI agent watching.
No, yeah, it is. It's I haven't publicly announced anything yet, and it's still somewhat in the early stages. But
That's
I've
fine.
been the past little while. I've been working on a clothing brand in the background. It's very much a passion project. It's something I've always wanted to do, and it's fun fact. It was actually my first business in high school. I briefly had a clothing brand in high school.
I
Which,
remember that. Oh, see, they liked it.
Yeah.
yeah, that was my first little experience of having somewhat like a business experience, actually, making a product and selling it. And I put a lot of effort into that one too. I had got like different labels printed and all the packaging separately. So it's a cool experience at 16 calling businesses trying to figure out how to get this thing made.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always thing that's been in the back of my mind. Even throughout all of college, I wanted to do it. I tried doing it in the beginning of college for a second, and then I think like I gave up on it really quickly. It was actually kind of funny. Very much financially, I just gave up on it because
It's a lot more overhead costs probably.
It's a good amount of overhead costs. I was in college. I wasn't doing freelance work at the time either, or like very little freelance work. So I applied for a trademark in college to get this company, actually established.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I did. I didn't really tell you about it, but I applied for it.
How did that? Like, you have to get an attorney for it, or you just do it yourself? Or?
There's two ways to do it. I think I did like a virtual attorney, something like that, to like help me make the application.
Hi, I am your attorney.
I am your attorney. How are you doing?
Yeah.
That was ChatGPT.
Yeah.
ChatGPT cyborg. And I got denied after like a few weeks.
Should have used a Jewish attorney.
I should have.
Literally.
Should have. And that kind of just like completely threw me off. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just not going to do it.
Why did it?
At the time, so what I applied for was a different name that I'm doing now. It was called Modern Classic. And that, I didn't really know trademarks at the time, but I guess you need to have some sort of a unique like word or something in it for it to get approved. Because I think Modern Classic was just way too basic, broad.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I got denied from that, but learned a few things.
I can get REKAP trademarked? REKAP, REKAP Group?
REKAP Group, probably.
Let's go.
I think you
Maybe I'm just going to
could.
tell people that I got it trademarked.
If you can't get it trademarked.
I'm not paying no attorney
No,
for that.
but if you can't get it trademarked, we can always just switch to Babacorp.
Yeah, it's not happening. It's not happening. Thank you for
Babacorp, I like that.
Babacorp.
Babacorp. I should trademark that.
How about, write it down.
Babacorp.
Put it in the recommendation box.
I already have a master plan. Well, I mean, you've already brought on Babacorp, so we might have to just do a little merger.
Another little birdie?
Yeah. No, there's no
No,
Babacorp. If there's any Babacorp going on, I don't even know what I would.
We're gonna take over the world.
Just one day I wake up and there's an Instagram follow request from babagroup.
You come to do a podcast and the logo's different?
Babacorp. It's just my face on it.
That would be a good April Fool's joke, but yeah. So okay, so
you didn't get you got the trademark denied, and then you kind of were like,
Just
all right.
completely, give up on it. But I was still I'd get like these bursts of information and inspiration every like year or so when I'd make like some random designs. It's always been very into fashion and clothing. Like I like buying, like a lot of my money just goes to buying clothes, and
you're a very fly guy. Pretty
try to
fly
be.
for a white guy, as
Yeah.
the offspring would say.
very unique here. You got a Lululemon.
No, but it looks good. You look very you're always put together.
So
Yeah.
are you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
as well.
Wow.
It depends. I've had to work on it with him a little bit. He's pants.
I've gotten in a little bit of trouble for the way I dress.
I've worked on it with him.
Mhm.
We've made progress. So
Yeah.
with this new clothing line, again, I don't want you to share too much information away because one, it is in its infancy, and two, I want it to be a big thing when it comes out.
Mhm.
If and when that ever happens, which I'm sure. Do you have a timeline of when you think you would like it? Next
So
year, 3 years?
No. It's much sooner than that. It'll
Okay.
be in the next few months. So it should be all
Okay.
launched. I
Nice.
got my first samples ordered and all that. Not all the samples, but I'm starting to get, some different distributors and sending me stuff. So I'm trying to get all that figured out
And
now.
what's kind of the vibe you're going for with it?
It's very much, probably not your style. Very much my style. It's kind of more of like graphic tees, streetwear-ish style.
Affliction tees,
Affliction
Jersey
tees?
Shore,
Jersey Shore. If you ever need models,
I'll definitely utilize you
Not
guys.
him, me. He's not good looking enough to
easy.
be a model. Look at
Of
that.
course he is. Look at him.
I'm kidding.
You can
You
just
are.
put me
You
in
can't
the
grow
office.
facial hair like that,
I
can you?
can't. I can't.
Oh, you can't? You still a little boy? Little ass boy?
Yeah, I am. I can't grow facial hair like that.
I
that's
can't
fine.
either. It's okay.
All right,
I wish I could.
Gordy can be the model.
You can model too.
Okay, thank you. Shirtless?
No.
I'm kidding.
No, we
I'm
can't model
kidding.
the clothes.
Right now,
Shirtless.
it's December, and I'm telling you, I'm putting on weight. I'm going to be a New Year's resolutioner is what's going to have to be, which is sad. Gordy, though, has been training for boxing for...
I've lost a lot of weight.
I'm
know.
excited for that.
That's going to be awesome.
Your fight was a blast. So
It
I'm
was.
very excited to see him.
Oh, Gordy's going to be that
I'm
on
excited.
steroids. We're going to get everybody...
He's
not
training
on
a lot
steroids.
earlier. He's training a lot earlier.
Really
so it's
not,
good.
though. I started
No?
training
No, you start training around the same time. You
a
said.
little later. Like
Did you-
late
for some
December.
reason, I thought you started training
I
much later
probably
than
was
that.
more like talking about it a little bit later because I think at the start I wasn't necessarily sure if I was. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say. I knew
I think you're committed.
But,
Once you say your mind to something,
that's true.
you're not
Like,
stopping.
I'm like laser focused on
Yeah.
it. So, but I'm really excited to see your clothing.
Yeah, this will be
That'll
really
be really
cool.
fun. I didn't even know about it, to be honest.
I haven't told many people about it. I've told a select few people.
Which is smart. Don't.
Mhm.
Don't. Why would you?
Especially, it's like one of those things, especially with doing designs, which is also pretty new for me to do.
Yeah.
Like I never, really released designs or anything like that, other than for marketing stuff for my agency. It's like I'll like make a design, and I'll show someone, and then give it a week or two, and that design is completely different now. And it's like I just showed someone a first draft, and it's just like things are constantly changing.
Yeah. Always better to under promise and over deliver.
Exactly.
Always.
Yep.
And I fall victim of that because I'm always trying to. I'm a talkative person. There's no secret to that. You're gonna look at this podcast and be like, "This kid doesn't shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
But that comes with its territory of like, you're definitely not as talkative as me. I think that's
No, I'm definitely
like,
not.
You're more of an introverted person, but
Yeah.
have actually become a lot more, I think, extroverted over the years that I've known you. I feel like
I definitely have come. Yeah, I definitely have. I don't think I'm like. I definitely don't talk as much as you, especially.
Yeah.
I'm much more of a listener, but
yeah,
I definitely have come out a lot
You
more.
are a good listener. You're a great listener, actually.
I like listening.
Great list.
I do think though that it's works to your advantage in that sense because sometimes I'm talking so much and I have to be like, Michael, shut up, because I love talking about what I'm doing and talking to other people about what they're doing, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, you're just sharing all these goals and whatever,
Mhm.
and all that ever. Sometimes like the best thing that comes out of that is that they're like, oh, that's nice, and that's kind of a neutral thing.
Yeah.
But usually people will try and project their insecurities onto you and talk you out of greatness. And
Yeah,
it's
100%.
better to just be like, or impart their opinions where it's like,
I didn't ask for
I
it.
didn't ask for
Yep.
it, nor do I don't need you.
And a lot of the time that just throws you off. I feel like you start to overthink. At least I'll start overthinking
100%.
it and be like, oh, maybe
Especially
that's
if it's
not a
like
good
passion
idea. Maybe
project.
yeah. That's something like this. I'm just kind of doing it, in the background on my own. It's very much a passion project.
But you're very good at like you pick up on things very quickly, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do this. Even
Yeah.
if you can't,
I
you
have
do, and then
too
you like
much
figure out a way.
confidence with like that was the thing that I think helped me a lot in freelance is that I would say yes to literally anything and
Yeah.
everything, even stuff that I have zero idea how to do, just because I know I'll figure it out. I know there's YouTube University's free. Like I can watch a million videos one night and know exactly what I need to do, and then I'll just
But
figure
that's
it
a
out.
good quality to have because then it could lead to way more opportunities like this.
Yeah, good and bad until you start saying yes to way too many things,
yeah.
and then you're just like
There's a
Overwhelmed.
balance.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
balance.
For sure. So
definitely.
if there's somebody out there who is trying to, I guess it could be a two-part question.
Mhm.
First and foremost, if there's somebody out there who's trying to break in more to the media space, what would your recommendation be for them? And then also on the flip side of that, if there's somebody out there who's more in a position like us that's looking to try and tap more into the social media side of things or media in general to grow their business that isn't a media agency, what would you recommend for them?
Okay, so for the first part, if someone's trying to get into the media space, the biggest piece of advice I have is to just shoot.
Yeah.
Literally
Yeah, simple.
shoot as much as you possibly can. I don't care if you have an iPhone or if you have any sort of camera, just go outside and
Shoot.
take photos,
Get it-
videos of anything.
Your
and
flip
everything.
video camera, your GoPro. Get out there.
No,
and
literally anything.
Yeah.
Literally use anything. And other than that, I mean, if you already have some sort of understanding of how to use a camera, you're trying to actually make some money on it. The quickest way to do that is just to shoot for free. Like I have done probably hundreds of shoots for free for different brands just to build my portfolio and meet people. A lot of those turn into other opportunities as well.
Yeah.
Like you impress someone, you do a video for them.
So
and then,
you're a believer in doing free, because there's a huge
that is a big debate, and that is the thing that propelled my business further than anything
100%
else.
agree. Free work, do it.
I mean, especially if you're young. If you're young, what are you? You're not gonna.
You have nothing to lose.
Stop trying to being like, oh, I love when people they're like, oh, I'm underpaid. Okay, then get something else. Well, I can't. Then you're not underpaid. You're paid exactly what the market has determined you're worth.
Yeah.
So when you have no skills, no experience, no nothing, you're pretty much worth nothing. Like not as a human being. You're a human being. You're not like your value isn't
in that
nothing.
field.
Yeah, no, but in the field.
You're like monetarily, the amount of money you're worth to that business is negligible. Okay, sure, maybe it's a little bit, but wouldn't you rather be the guy be like, hey, listen, I will do this for free. I will work my ass off and do such a good job, because people remember that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
that's how I got into product space. Even throughout all of college, the few shoots I mentioned that I was doing for, these random product brands, it was never. I don't think any of them were like a referral for a client. Like, oh, this person wants to pay you. No, it was me on Instagram every single day sending out 30 plus 50 DMs to random companies.
That was sliding. You never slid my DM.
I probably had at one point.
Yeah,
firing off.
We TikTok DM each other.
And I would offer them. We do. And I would just offer them to do, like if you can send me your products, for free, and then I'll do some photos for you. And it's like it felt for me at the time, it felt like really cool because I wasn't making money on it, but I was getting free stuff that I actually used.
It was a win-win.
It was a win-win. Like I didn't
100%.
need how much money do you need to make in college? Not much.
And you got to start somewhere.
And
you can't just be, oh, well, no, I'm only working for this amount of money.
People, I think it's such a, you have to pay your dues. There's no shortcuts in business. There's no shortcuts in life. And if you are taking a shortcut and you end up getting a quick, I've seen the people that make sometimes that quick overnight success, they lose it just as quick.
100%. Yeah. So. And a lot of those quick overnight successes aren't overnight successes. Right. It's them. It's like you posting for
it's portrayed
10 years and then one video blows you up out of the water. Like that's what a lot of those overnight successes tend to be.
Yep.
But back to that, how do you can't pitch yourself unless you have a portfolio in my industry.
And how do you get a portfolio? You
have to doing work for free, most likely.
Yep. Now, on the other side of that, somebody who maybe is in a position like us, even if they're not real estate brokers, but whatever they're in, I feel like everybody's like, oh, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do a podcast. I'd love to do video.
Then go do it.
And I'm like, then do it. And they're like, yeah, but everybody's got the but. So many buts. And I love butts, but not that, but that's a whole too many butts for me. How about you just go and do it?
Yeah. Belt to ass.
I mean, that differs. It's either if you're in a position where you're a little more well established, you have some sort of marketing budget. I am obviously biased, but I'm a big proponent of saying, you should hire someone out because, like you said yourself, it's impossible to do this by yourself.
Yep.
I'm trying to do it for myself, and it's I'm starting to do it, but it's not easy to stay consistent, especially let's say you have one off week. Trying to get back after it's tough to snap back into it.
It's very hard.
So there's been times when you guys probably stop posting for a week and then it's okay, we got to get back in.
We got to get back on the grind. Yeah, you have to have a consistent schedule and
I
think it's one of those you can figure out a way to make social media there's people on social media even that aren't running I just saw this one guy today. It's my day in the life working an average 9-to-5 job in Chicago.
And they blow up.
Killing.
And some of these people have hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah.
It's what do you do? You just work a normal job.
But because Pat said it, it's that familiarity. They're familiar. There's that one kid, he's our age. He's an accountant and
he wants my gym.
Really? Do you know what I'm talking about? And he's just lives in this studio apartment and he's super just basic.
Post videos all the time.
Post videos. The most basic stuff. It's people relate to that. It's oh yeah, I do the same thing.
There's a certain segment of people, no matter how unique you think you are, because you are as a but
overall,
there's a lot of people that can relate to what you're
at
not
least
alone.
Some aspect of it.
Yeah, some aspect of something you're doing. There's a group of people that are waiting to have content delivered and tailored to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you don't have a budget to do stuff like that, just like that one guy, that accounting guy, he films on his phone.
Yeah, it's the
It's like,
craziest
just
thing.
Get your phone out and
Just
start
different
posting.
scenes. He just films different, and you're just like, oh yeah, like that's
for
relatable.
sure.
That's scary. It's uncomfortable to do,
It
especially
is,
in the beginning.
grabbing your phone and being like, "Hey guys," you all the thoughts of like people are going to think I'm so weird. People are always going to think about you, and you don't have control over that. Might as well, and
Always will, but
you're going to die one day anyways. So like, who cares?
Nope.
in reality,
True.
honestly, most people don't even care.
Jimmy Carter is
That's what
still.
I've also
That's true. Jimmy Carter's living proof that we can live forever.
Oh god,
He voted too.
He did vote.
Yeah,
3 times.
Yeah, he did. He did do that.
Well, yeah. I mean, the picture of him tough. He doesn't wake up every day.
Sometimes neither do I. Depends on how my night went. But Pat,
This is awesome.
Yeah, this was so nice.
This is a
Now
good
people
time.
know
This
that
actually was
the
better
man-
than I expected it.
Yeah, I'm like so glad that finally have you on camera because you've been filming me now for probably 3 years, 2.5
Yeah,
years.
you're like you're my first retainer client I ever had.
Yeah.
That was just like consistent work.
consistent work, and I'm like, dude, like I
Well,
need
now
to
people
have you
know
on
the man.
the behind the camera. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah.
My personal Instagram is pat.rydz. And
Smart that he didn't put his whole last name.
Yeah.
no one would find me. I'd
Yeah.
have 0 followers.
We're buying Pat a vowel for Christmas.
Yeah, then my media.
We're putting it right in his name, just throwing an A and O somewhere in there to help.
No one's
people.
gonna notice is a thing.
Yeah,
And then my media agency is at MediaZoo, ZEW on Instagram.
good play on words. Brilliant,
good.
brilliant.
Zoo Media was taken, so I have to do the alternative Media Zoo.
Zoom media is taken. I have a name. I'm Michael Kaplan. You think Michael? I mean,
Oh my God, it's
yeah.
Michael Kaplan up 1, 2, 3 up to 77.
I know. I'm actually surprised they got M.J. Kaplan to be honest, because I figured there was others. But
Yeah.
Pat, this was a pleasure. Shake my
The
hand.
pleasure is
Thanks for
mine. Thank you for having
coming
me.
on. This was awesome.
Unbelievable. I
In the
love
books.
this.